Hi, this is Jameel, and I'm going over my research on the People's Temple. And one of the things I've come across is Stephen Jones, and I even emailed Stephen Jones and showed him some of my work on Jim. I had sent him my video of the body doublings and whatnot, and I don't blame the People's Temple. I don't blame Stephen Jones. I know there's people out there who criticize the People's Temple still to this day, and my work isn't about hatred or pointing a finger. Those were all young people back in 1978. Stephen and Jim Jones Jr., they were kids. And going back, if you look back to the area, they were kids. And so, anyhow, through my research, I've had people say certain things like, oh, Mike Carter was the one playing the double in the pavilion. They knew how to do the special effects mask and whatnot. And I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But I just think it's interesting to go back and research into the People's Temple and learn what happened. If in fact, this was like the Project Paperclip Nazis doing it or the CIA doing it, they would have killed some of the people in the People's Temple if they would have told the truth and exposed it. They would have kidnapped them or killed them or something. So you really can't blame the people in a lot of the people in the People's Temple. They're probably just as much as afraid as the people there who drank the poison. But so anyhow, um, I look at it like this: the People's Temple were not criminal investigators. United States government was, and Zbigniew Brzezinski ordered for the people to be, the people to be identified in the pile. Then he ordered toe tags for the people, so their names were on the toe tags. So their facial identity was revealed and they were tagged and the tags were taken off. But we were never given any facial identifying photographs. Okay, so then you have the Green Berets with Frank Turple, Lieutenant Bo Gritz. Lieutenant Bo Gritz was head of all special forces in Latin America in '78. Then there's a Frank Turple connection for the most dangerous man alive. Frank Turple was an arms dealer with connections to England. You can associate that with the Blakey family. Then you have the gold in Jonestown, the gold, which Charles Gary said Jonestown was literally sitting on a gold mine. And Dr. Peter Better's tapes, he talked about the gold stored in the caves. The Burnham administration connecting to Chase Manhattan Bank. Then Leslie Wagner Wilson talked about being approached in the 90s and threatened by some thugs about the gold. And so gold is a central topic coming from Port Kaituma and Jonestown. A lot of the activity, I think, came out of Port Kaituma, to be honest with you. I think Jones and his stronghold were operating heavily out of Port Kaituma. Drugs, definitely. This gets into Frank Lucas, who was a communist drug dealer. Frank Lucas was in connection with the North Vietnamese. He got a lot of his drugs from the North Vietnamese back in the 60s. So there's a communist connection with opium, heroin, cocaine, that running down to Latin America. Um, Anyhow, then you have the School of Americas in Panama. There's a connection between the Green Berets and Panama. I encourage people to go back and watch a movie called Cut and Run that was released in '85. There's some segments in there about Jim Jones and the People's Temple. Then there's the book called Terror in Guyana, which I think people should read about. Congressman Leo Ryan was instructed by a friend of his to visit Guyana, and I think he was a senator, and I think some of his, well, a senator's son or an important politician's son was down there in Jonestown, like being held hostage in a way, and that's also in the book Terror in Guyana. And in Mark Lane's book, The Strongest Poison, they detailed the shooting going on in the jungle, the helicopters, and I think the suicides happen at nighttime. People think the suicides happen like right after the congressman left, but I think they happen at night. To be honest with you. Anyhow, that's just my feeling. I'm a strong believer in Jonestown researching it because one of the things I know is a lot of these people that died in the pavilion were good people. Like Danny Beck, he was a young boy. Had he been a dangerous criminal, he'd probably still be alive. Had he been, had he been a gang member from Los Angeles that was down there, he'd probably still be alive. They probably would have put him somewhere else. But the people down there were easy prey. I found out that Danny Beck was involved in some sort of, and Danny Beck's name was involved in some sort of insurance thing with People's Temple lawsuits, and his adoptive parents. I was reading, which is none of my business. I know they're still around. It's none of my business. But his adoptive parents, one of the adoptive parents, was involved in building Jonestown. Then there's that whole rumor about the 200 white assassins or something who built Jonestown, who will kill anybody who exposes a temple. There's that movie, Guy in the Crime of the Century. You see the assassins out there shooting people while the suicides are happening. So it's a big research thing, but my energy isn't directed towards exposing or trying to advocate for somebody to be blamed for what happened. I think my energy is directed towards making sure that something like this cannot happen again. And we're in 2019, and the world is a lot different than what it was in 1978. And Jonestown was still active until the 80s too. I think Billy Graham even tried to buy it back in '85 or something. Anyhow,